What is good, rookies? Welcome to our trade talk for round 7. We're going to smash through this. Quick turnaround. A lot of topics to discuss, but we're just going to quickly breeze through the injury report. Not everything's updated, and we're just going to touch on some key things that might influence certain players. Adelaide updated today. Rochelle is going to be a test, which means that maybe we see Rakin play a little bit more CBA attendances instead of bounce attendances. We'll see what happens there, but I like Rochelle being back in because it means there's probably less forward time for Rankin. For Brisbane, looking forward at Tunstall in regards to a rookie option next week. Reveals out 3 to 4. Coleman 1 to 2 may influence whether he is holding his spot or not, so one to watch. We have Cohen in for a test this week, which could potentially affect Carroll. Not really sure. I think Carroll has probably the main job security role in the blue side at the moment versus a Durden or a White, who we're also looking at. One to note as well is Betnet did not have a great first appearance in the VFL. So we're probably a little bit away from him actually getting a spot in the side, fingers crossed. So TDK should be fine as a whole. Do not trade him out. The only major ones from Essendon is Langford coming back in. Not really sure if that changes much. Obviously, Draper did his Achilles. Not great at all. But what can you do? Just it looked like he was gonna have a ripper, solo ruck opportunity, especially as an F6 for us. Just wasn't meant to be. Cardwell coming back in 2 weeks with hamstring, most likely. Nothing crazy at Freo. Nothing crazy at Geelong either. The only thing that might change people if they're planning to hold a Cos Lettuce, Connor O'Sullivan. Henry is still 1 to 3 weeks. So, but don't trust Geelong. We know what Chris Scott's like. Hogan coming back in for a test. Nothing too crazy here. Hawthorn is a very interesting one. So we've got Wilday who's out, helps John Newcomb. We've also got Nash who's probably going to cop a 3 to 4 week suspension. I haven't seen any confirmed reports on what that looks like just yet. But it does mean that someone like a Huswaite can come into the team potentially and be a downgrade option for us. Hopefully you're playing rookie. He's got really solid VFL numbers as well. So he can be an accumulator. I mean, look at this. 35 disposals, 12 clearances, 8 tackles on Sunday. Like crazy stats. And this is not just a once-off. This is like some decently, consistent numbers from him as well. So hopefully he does come in, because we definitely are screaming for rookie options at this point. May comes back into the team with a test, so fingers crossed he gets back in. May see Lindsay get away from a bit of a lockdown role, which we kind of saw in their last game. So we'll go for, I still think Lindsay's a hold. Don't stress too much. Archer a test for this week, and Fisher 1 week with a hamstring. Hopefully there's something here that forces Clarko to play a better role for Sheasel. That's all we're really hoping for. Nothing for Port. Richmond, Bolter has a curfew. We'll get into Trainer in a little bit, but ultimately this should help Trainer not be sub ever again. If Trainer is sub again, I'm actually going to cry. But we have nothing from Saints and a lot of injuries actually at Sydney. Again, hopefully these just help Cleary hold a spot for a little bit more to help him make some cash. Mills is 1 to 2 after that plantar issue. So could be an option to look at in a couple of weeks. So definitely one to watch. Nothing crazy for West Coast. And Sam Darcy. No dreaded tear for the ACL, which is nice. So we should see him, I think it was a fractured knee or something like that. Not too across it, but season not over is main thing. So we should bounce back, which is awesome. So trade strategies, trade methods, how can we pivot, so on and so forth. I'll go through my trades first, and then we'll go from there. So I'm getting rid of Carroll. I'm not getting rid. I'm getting in Carroll, in Track, in White, and I'm trading Trainer out, Moraes out, and Hendo out. Now, Trainer is a tricky one because he is a very likely hold because he can give the on-field points if needed. Like he's been scoring really, really good. That 2 will eventually fall out of your system as well. So there are a few things to consider if you were wanting to hold Trainer. It's a fine hold because he we've seen what he can achieve for, the overall scoring perspective of a rookie. Definitely more consistent than like a Pryor, but that sub score definitely does hurt his cash gen. He's got a break even in the 70s, which is very achievable if it's the same role that we've seen him come into. And given Bolter's curfew, we're not really sure what's going to happen there. So definitely one to watch for team sheets and an hour before the game for sub, because if Trainer is sub again, which I doubted, he may be worth a hold and worth on moving someone else around to try and facilitate your trades. But these are what I'm looking at. I'm not confident in White. There's no real other options. If Tunstall looks good and is named on field or whatever, I might just go early on him and save some cash, because I prefer to do that than bring in a White who really has already had a price increase and don't know too much about the job security, which says everything. And even some Blue Baggers boys can't even really say too much about it. They can say that Carroll is probably a lot safer than most, but it is what it is. So that's my plan. This eventually leads me to hold on to Davidson, hold on to the two Essendon lads, and have some trade out options next week to keep the trade cadence going. Because Davidson is going to make some money. He's probably going to make an extra 50K, which is massive. Like, that shifts things a fair bit. And I do believe he can get there. We're just hoping that he gets like a 60. If he gets a 70, that's amazing. Yeah, but if we can get like another 61 or a 72 here, that's going to be amazing for his cash gen. It's going to be amazing. So we're hoping that Lindsay's break even has dropped back down to 14. So he's going to start making cash again. And we get, with May potentially coming back into the side, good to see him move into a better role, not have to play that lockdown as harshly as we saw previously. So fingers crossed for that one, because we need him to do well. But with getting track and it finishes our forward line, we don't have to field any rookies like a White or a Cleary where we're unsure how they're going. Keep bias in the flex, and then pretty much just keep tracking. Chera's not going to be a trade out option. We want to hold Clary through the next two games. Davidson and Ashcroft could be, we could do lots of one-up, one-downs essentially from here. We're using our second last boost to facilitate, which I don't mind doing. And we're just going to see how that plays out. If there's any drama with the team sheets or mass carnage, then we will pivot. Make sure you follow me on X to stay up to date with all that sort of fun stuff, because there are always last-minute changes based on team sheets. But I'm essentially playing the value route. There's no Dacos, no Bont, no Butters, no Merritt, no Rosie, no Newcomb. Complete value in getting in track just to get a rookie off field. And that's pretty much my aim with my trades is, can I facilitate getting a rookie off field to get in a value fall and PREMO? And that's going to be my play for the entire season, because I hope to either stay ahead of the pack or stay with the pack, and not fall behind in regards to getting rookies off field. Because if anything, we've seen that you can't trust them, and rookies are going to do rookie things. They're going to spud it up and get the sub from coach, or they're just going to be very, very quiet, like a Connor O'Sullivan was for almost the first half on Monday. So just unfortunate things can happen to rookies that are outside of their control. Sub rule being one of them. Please get rid of it. We're going to quickly look at the trade-ins and trade-outs for this week so far. We're going to look at overall, then we're just going to look at the 1% or the top 5%, because that's where we are now, unfortunately. But if we look at round change, Carroll again, massive trade-in, 99K rookie, averaging around the 60s. You kind of have to go there. Looks solid. Matthew Flynn has put his name up after a 141 performance, which sits him at a negative 73 break even. He's going to make a decent amount of cash just within 2 weeks if he can get the run. The concerns are that there is still seeming to be that fight for that number one ruck role, even confirmed after the game from Flynn himself, saying that him and Williams are continuously fighting. Nothing's locked in or permanent. I don't know if that instills a lot of confidence to try and say, okay, if we get him in, we really want him for a 4-week period to be able to make that much cash for us. You're paying up at 261. He does look good to be able to go do a 141. It's just very tricky and hard to kind of get a gauge on what McWalter's doing at West Coast. Like, they're trying to play the kids. Are they blowing up the team? It's a rotating door of rookies. Like, there's so much questions and uncertainty there that it is scary, but it's very hard to miss and negate the thought of getting Flynn in, especially when we probably all traded him out once he got dropped. Dacos, perfect trade in. 608, going to go nuclear and become very unreachable. I won't be seeing him anytime soon, unfortunately, because I need value and can't afford him. Broke man. Tunstall can go early, I suppose. It would be very depending on team sheets. I would be very much waiting to make sure he's sub, not anything. So if you have a way to wait until, when do they play? Let's just have a quick look. That's not going to tell me. So they play on a Saturday. So you could facilitate it still. Hopefully he doesn't get dropped or anything like that. We got lucky with Cleary where we went early, still made some cash and held a spot. Hopefully it stays the same. But overall, I would be opting to wait one more week on Tunstall. People are going big and grabbing in Bont. They're moving on Clary. Don't do it. They're moving on Will Ashcroft. I don't see the merit in doing it. Even just your mid prices, like a Humpty, sure, I get it. If you want to move a Humpty, you can get him to a Rao, a Dacos, all that sort of stuff. Sure, perfect. If you can get like a Humpty and a Davidson up to Carroll and one of those big boys, awesome. By all means, do it. But trading out a Clary or a Will Ashcroft or a Callahan, I don't really see the merit. Like, yeah, you're going to get the big tick up in that spike score for that big Uber Primo. You get a captaincy option every week, but you may also fall behind the pack of having rookies on field. Like everyone else might be getting one extra rookie off field that week, and you're 1 week behind now because you paid max price for someone. I did that last season, and it sucked because I got stuck with rookies on field and misuse of trades and injuries and all this fun stuff. It never worked out fine. But yeah, sure. If you want to go there, by all means, it's definitely a pod move for sure. They're going to be low ownership, really unattainable for most. Well, because we're going to have to wait. People like me that want to play value have to wait till they come down. Track is a great value trade in this week. Whitfield, I think there's better options at this current point in time. Rao, I think he's pretty value. He's got a very achievable break even of 74, so he's about to go up in cash. So if you wanted to get him in your team, you get him in now. He's been playing so well this year. It looks like it's sticking and not dropping off either. So the grass is different this year, ladies and gentlemen. It's something different. Butters, again, you're paying up for that. Nick Munn, I still think is a decent trade in. Not as much value as you would have hoped. So still don't mind it though. Looks very, very good. Kennedy being a trade in too is very interesting. So what's he done so far? A floor of 62, does have a bit of a ceiling. I don't mind it. It's definitely, again, that mid-pricer. Are we considering him a primo or a keeper? I don't know. Interesting one in Ned Long. Is it too late? I think so. I'd rather grab a Flynn than a Long at this stage. Flynn's cheaper, probably going to have the same scoring output and make you more cash, essentially. The only thing that's easier is maybe you don't have the flex position to facilitate Flynn because you run a 3-ruck setup. Maybe that's why you grab a Ned Long instead. Jai Newcomb and Connor Rosie, great options. Complete value for a Rosie. Looks like that halfback role is sticking. He still got tagged as well against Sydney, but still was managed to ton up. So that's promising. So you can imagine that off the chain, without copping attention, he is playing North this week. There are all chances he goes absolutely nuts this week. And look, if we can facilitate a Rosie instead of a track, I'm going to do it if I can figure it out. But again, we've kind of looked at the trades. Outside of that, I think a smoky pick is getting in Sherry. If you can facilitate Sherry this week, get him in your team because he's probably not. This is probably going to be the lowest price you can get him at. Anyone else? Not really going to jump on anyone else, but Amon's a smoky as well. Played well. He's only really had 2 down games. Outside of that, been very consistent. 100, 122, 106, 152, with 2 quiet games is 79 each. Pretty solid. Love the Newcomb pick. Love the Rosie pick. Yeah, a lot of different avenues you can take this week. In regards to trade outs, though, which is more interesting, Trainer being the most, given that he has a break even of like 74. he is getting to like the 80s to 90s in scores. So it's not the worst case if you wanted to hold and wait for that 2 to fall out of the system. Just need to pay attention to team sheets, pay attention to who's sub. They play the first game, so you'll know before anything whether he'll be sub or not. I doubt it. Against Melbourne too. Richmond got a nice win last week. There's a lot of missed signals. Bolter's obviously on curfew, so may not be able to play. We're not really sure how things are going to alter, so definitely pay attention to team sheets and who's named sub on Thursday before locking in like a trainer trade. Because if a trainer isn't sub and he's named on field or whatever it might be, he's a decent hold considering the lackluster rookies we have available to us. And you might be better off trying to move on dead weight and grab a Flynn only this week than get a PREMO. But we didn't get a PREMO last week. I want a PREMO this week. That's why we're going track. Conor O'Sullivan, perfect trade out. 85 break even. Just hasn't been able to do it. Get him out of your team. Humpty, same deal. Darcy, injured. Get him out. Arias, yeah, it just hasn't done it. May get dropped. The perfect trade out option. Clary, I know why people are doing it because they want to get to a Dacos, to a Bont, to a Butters. I totally get it. That is a play in itself that's going to be a little bit potty, especially if you're in the top 50 potentially. Outside of that, please hold him. If you're trading out a Will Ashcroft and a Clary just to get into a Dacos or a Bont or a Butters, you're most likely going to fall behind in getting rookies off field. So if you are in an amazing place where rookies are not a problem for you, one, please show me your team on X, Rookie Coach AFL. Go tag me in a thing or whatever to show me your team so I can be jealous. But if it's not perfect and your rookies are dead and your bench isn't generating cash, that is a higher priority for sure. You got to get rookies off field. You can have the big 6 in your team in the midfield, but then if you're fielding the worst rookies, it's going to cost you. Reed, you can wait on. I don't think you need to trade him out unless, again, it helps facilitate getting in a decent, maybe it's a 1 down, 2 up situation. Sure. No worries. Boz, Max Hall, definitely fine trade outs. Will Ashcroft, same situation as Clary. Kako, sure, makes sense. Draper makes sense with the injury. Same with Nod. Deligo definitely falls into that Clary conversation. Davidson has kind of reset his break even. He's going to definitely make a little bit more cash now, 37. So we're hoping we can get like a 60, maybe a 70 score. I can kind of see him getting close to the 50K mark, extra 50K. So we could see him get to 345 and then trade him out. So I'm going to try and hold him as much as I can. If it helps get me to a Rosie instead of a track, I probably won't do it. But if it helps gets me to a Nukem or someone else, I will take a gander at it. But I like the idea of holding on to Davidson. Nevitt as well. Nevitt's so tricky. He's just not there. And you're not really gaining. You're gaining only 40K. I would try to hold him if possible because he will make his break even. And then the rest, I mean, if you're trading on Sheasel, please don't. If you're trading on TDK, please don't. Wait till team sheets. Sheasel will come good. TDK is fine so long as Pitnet's out of the team. You don't need to get a Flynn in and you don't need to trade out TDK just to get a Flynn. There are other ways to facilitate it. Figure it out. That's about it. If you got anyone in this team like a Dunkley or a Richards or a Chera, hold on to them, please. You will fall behind the pack and have more rookies on field than some at some point. You won't feel it now because you'll be on the high ground getting all these spike scores from Bonds and Butters and all that sort of stuff. But there will be a turning point at some point in the season, mostly around the buys, where you're 1 rookie behind. You've got 1 extra rookie on field than most do. That's when the pain kicks in. You get the high start and then it's going to come plummeting down. So keep that in mind. Anyway, that's trades, trade talk, BCC options. For myself, I'm going Sinclair into Whitfield. I have a feeling Sinclair will turn it around. He always seems to go nuts against Brisbane. So we're hoping we see that again. If not, we have Whitfield against the Dogs, who tends to go pretty well again. So I'm going to do the normal thing and VC my captain, and I want Sinclair to be my captain. Carlton play late, so I can use Campo as a loop, which is good. So we'll see what happens. What you can do, Thursday night, I'm not sure. Maybe a Gorn. A Gorn might be a solid VC shout against Snake. He seems to just go nuts against Snake at this point. It's a solid VC option early in the week, so go for it. A Dacos or a Merit would be perfectly fine. I'm not sure if there's any other sneakies in there. Not a Ned Long, not a Nick Martin. Martin, I'd probably prefer Merit over Dacos ever so slightly. They're probably going to put a lot of attention into Dacos. Not that it matters really, but Dacos or Merit are fine VC options. Clark could be a shout, but Clark hasn't done too much here. Clark, anyone against Adelaide tends to leak points. We saw Rioli go 160. Whitfield went 145. Could this be a game where Clark gets a ceiling? Outside of that, go Brayshaw. Brayshaw, solid option. And Sarong. We're waiting for Sarong. Brisbane and Saints. I mean, Dawson might be okay too if you have him. It's probably the only person. Maybe not Rankin, not Saligo. Just maybe Dawson if you need to. Saints against Brisbane. This might be a game where Dunkley goes off because they might send Winhager to Neil. So maybe Dunkley is a shout here, or a Will Ashcroft. Maybe we see Zorko bounce back. I mean, I don't trust Zorko at the moment, so I'm not going to go near that. I'm going Sinclair, but McRae could also be one to give a good shout. What has McRae done previously against Brisbane? Yeah. Got Sinclair. Chucking on him, I think. Port, your Butters, your Rosie. They're your options. I don't think, maybe Sherry. Sweet isn't the most easiest ruckman at this point. He is actually pretty restrictive. So I don't expect a massive score from Sherry, but if he's back to his fit, full form self, where he does get tackles and all that sort of stuff, Sherry will be fine if you want to throw the VC on him. And then Whitfield, maybe a Green even. Green is a contested possession pig. The Green could be a shout. You've also got Bond. Will Bond pop Bedford? This is the interesting thing. We'll see. I don't mind Bond. You always go Bond. Dale, maybe. Yeah, I'm probably more behind a Green or a Whitfield, but a Bond's very, very safe. Gee. If you find word that there is a tag going to Anderson instead of Rao, go Rao, please. Geelong and Carlton, they could send Hewitt to Holmes. But I'm not sure if that's going to do too much because they might swing Stewart and Holmes around. So Holmes could be a decent captaincy option. If you have George Hewitt, always throw it on him. They might even send Atkins to him. But they might send Atkins to a Cripper or a Walsh at the same time. But Hewitt has been in amazing form. And then you have Hawks. TDK against Geelong too, actually. Solid captaincy option. How did I forget that? And then the last game, Hawks v West Coast. Meek is probably going to do well. Newcomb, Amon, if you have him, I wouldn't be touching any West Coast players. But they're like some of the suggestions that you can use for VCNC. As said, I'm going to go through Sinclair into Whitfield this week and use Camporelli or a dead rook at some point for a loop. Because if Hall's not named, he plays the last game. So we can make something work there. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been a long video. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Make sure if you got this far, leave the like on the video. Let me know what your trades are for this week and who your VCNC options are. If you've got any smokies, any pods that you're looking to bring in. And with that said, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you again for all the love and support. Almost at 700 subs. So you guys have been awesome. Shout out to the members of the channel as well. And I will see you guys for Supercoach After Dark on Saturday night and then our usual videos coming through next week. Catch ya.